Hello, my name is Ryan. I'm going to be painting. Now, sitting here processing the moment. Just watched this wonderful little video on Voltaire. Those who believe in absurdities will commit atrocities. It's a pretty good statement. Let's see, let me pull it up just so I can reference who I was just watching, because there's a channel I don't normally watch. I don't recognize the person. Rationality Rules. How Voltaire broke the church. And that just is something that has been on my mind. The absurdities in certain religions in the West. Honestly, specifically the Abrahamic ones. All the ones that, require an apocalypse. I always viewed those texts as, here's some examples of what we noticed kind of caused the downfall of our societies and caused a lot of horrible things to happen. To some degree, some of it's documenting natural events, but then, just certain human behaviors, etc. Hello. But to be honest, the first comedian that I've seen that has a bit on this is Mark Maron. He's talking about how it's worrisome to kind of sit and reflect that you have all these people that believe, to their core, in their religion and their people in power. And that religion requires an apocalypse. I know some of the people that I'm friends with that are very devout, I've talked with throughout the years about this same topic, how it's exceptionally frustrating to have people believe that an apocalypse will happen when you're somebody like myself that believes, manifestation definitely works. And if you were sitting there focusing all your power on something that requires the end of times to play out, and it's inevitable to some degree. That's what my fear is with a lot of these political people. They justify their actions because they're fulfilling the prophecy. Whatever. People that believe in absurdities will commit atrocities. Ugh. You have millions and millions of people throughout the world really believing full-heartedly in this stuff. They want that to happen. And then I think everybody also needs to understand the amount of psychopaths that are in power that will see that people believe in stuff like this. They're like, you know what? How about we give it to them and see how much money we can make off of it? and, get them to do our bidding in the meantime. This is where it gets tricky. Menace, what are you doing? Can you not play with the cables? There's just so much to process at the moment. Then you have that nonsense, but then you also have this whole nonsense of people that really believe that there's going to be a race war coming. And so you have, again, same psychopaths going like, hey, how can we profit off this? Keep them subjugated, keep them distracted, keep them all amped up with their emotions so they don't see what we're doing, or what they're doing, I should say. Because again, through talking with people, even the people that believe full-heartedly in the MAGA movement that I talk to, it's like deep down they believe in equality to some degree. They believe in the same stuff. Everybody should just be allowed to do what they need to do. It's just they have a really weird way of showing it. Or, it's the same pathetic thing that a lot of racists tend to do. And just kind of play dumb about it and secretly just hate on everybody. Or, let it slip when they're drunk. Except now, I'm fortunate. I don't have to interact with too many people that are diehards, but it's definitely apparent in the communities that I have to navigate. Ugh. Just having to talk to my son about racism. Because, at middle school going into high school era is the time where those thoughts and things are really solidified. And it's just causing me to reflect that, almost everybody, except for maybe like one or two, and honestly, I can't even verify those one or two. It's more like I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. But almost all of them that thought it was fun and exciting and edgy to draw swastikas on stuff, do hate speech things, matured into kind of a shitty person. It's like I've personally only know one person who is really diehard in it, and honestly, I think they are still, to some degree. It's really hard to gauge. But spent hours talking with this person. The roots of racism for them. how, as an adult, they know they should be treating everybody with equality and who they are, not based on like where they come from, the color of their skin, etc. However, they have to deal with a lot of issues due to, childhood stuff. One, environment in which they were raised. So there's a baseline of like how much racism was still apparent in their family, which I think that's one thing that like all white people have to deal with to some degree, is like recognizing like how much racism is just naturally apparent in your upbringing. Which I'll go into my own in a second, but as far as talking about this person, because like make no doubt, like this person had like straight swastikas on their body, and how they were struggling with their feelings as an adult, because don't really talk to this person that much because, post-Trump and a few other events made it a little bit more difficult, which is unfortunate. But it's odd having somebody in that realm and still be able to consider them like on the friend side. It's complicated. It's definitely something that I struggle with. And it's funny, it's like a mutual friend had the same conversation with them. They're like, man, it's like when I met this person, like they were studying this, they were all like kind of hippied out. And then like all of a sudden you go like, ah, crap. Now I'm sitting here with like this like degree of respect and this disgust kind of sitting at the same table. Yeah. Which, I don't know, I kind of sit there and identify that as personal growth. Because there's nothing better than being able to actually have civil conversation and respect for somebody who holds beliefs and ideas that are so different from your own. Because, I mean, if you don't have the direct experience with somebody, how do you not understand it, Anyways, got on that tangent because I think I was talking about the whole contingent that believes in a race war, because I know that person definitely believes that's inevitable, and that's just so stupid. The concept of race is so fucking stupid at this point. It's the human race. And there's a whole bunch of different shades. And in the realm of paint, hello, Menace, we're technically all shades of, what was it? Wheat, I think. Yeah, there's like a swatch of the different shades, values of the color wheat. And it's like, that's everybody's skin tone. And racism is a construct keep everybody fighting and distracted. And going back to like one thing that I've realized about racism in my own family is I can sit here and think, like reflect on like my relatives, my parents, my grandparents, and kind of see, and like great grandparents, like you can kind of see like where racism was the absolute norm to where it started getting phased out and to the point where it was completely phased out. So like, I remember as a kid during Thanksgiving, going to the back part of the house where my great grandparents and like that generation was, it was just racist jokes. It was like anybody of a darker tone, they're just going under the bus and they are just roaring with laughter. Just weird, but okay. Then like, and this is going to be on my dad's side. And then like my grandparents on that side, absolutely no detection of it. I don't, like my grandfather, I can't recall anything. Maybe a little hint from my grandmother, and it's more in the segregationist realm, which that is some of the shades of racism. Like I respect you, just don't, try to mix with whatever. And then, with my parents, only got one hint off my mom once dating as a teenager. Because I was dating a Hispanic woman. And she just made a comment. And I was just like, did not expect that. That's, didn't expect that. It was just the one comment. So who knows? And then like on my mom's side, I can sit there and decipher that as offset differently. So instead of it being the great grandparents who were all about the racist jokes, it was my grandparents on that side. Like, oh my goodness. The amount of jokes that I know just from being around them. And I'm thinking about like the first time I remember really hanging out with them. It's like, whoa, really? Not even going to repeat it. Anywho. So I guess that kind of makes sense as far as like going from one degree of racism in one generation to another. So the offhand comment lines up with my grandmother on my, yeah. So anyway. So back to the racist person I know, not a person that falls into that category. One of the things that stood out for me was when they were telling me about, there's one conversation in particular. It's like going over the whole, as an adult, I know I shouldn't feel these things because, people prove themselves in other ways and, everyone's equal. However, I have these feelings. And it was like a catalyst because it's a combination of, going through certain events. And it was sadly other people's racism that caused their racism to really get solidified. So, if this person didn't have that one core event of somebody doing something against them with a racial motivation as, preteen, when they couldn't really defend themselves, ended up causing this person to go that route as an adult, or as a young adult, really hard as a young adult. I mean, if they were that hard when I got to know them, fuck no, wouldn't even have happened. The only reason I even know that person is actually the person that radicalized me against neo-Nazis back in the 90s, introduced me. Which is just the whole another level of complexity. It's like, here's the guy who taught me, if you see somebody sporting swastikas, just, and I live by that. I mean, I did that at a dwarf show, which is such a core memory. It's like, it shouldn't be a core memory, but it is, especially now. I relive that one often. Don't get me wrong, I was not a badass in any way, shape, or form. Just willing. Especially in that situation, that was fucked. I'm not going to go into the full story, but short story is, I was at a punk show in Santa Cruz. There was a bunch of neo-Nazis there. Nobody was saying anything, and my friends were a mixed couple. The neo-Nazis used the mosh pit as a way to kick her in the stomach. So I used the mosh pit to elbow the living hell out of the biggest guy there. Because I'm a big guy. It would just be not right to go after any of the other ones. They were tiny. But if you go over after the big guy that they're all kind of hiding around, plus easier to do that in a mosh pit. And it's just go against the grain. And line up your target. And aim for the kidneys. because that dude was big. That dude was like 6'5", 6'6". Like I'm a big guy, and this guy made me feel small. And it's not like it was a one-on-one situation. That would have been scary. But it was one of those situations you had to do something. And that was the easiest way to do it without really getting in trouble or stopping the show. Anyway. If you are a parent and watching this, definitely talk to your kids about racism and symbolism and just certain conversation tips. Like, one thing I had to have a conversation with my kid about is he likes to call people boy. And it's like, dude, you cannot be doing that. Because, like, for me, I instantly go, like, an American culture that is, or has its roots in racism and very demeaning. I mean, I've watched Roots. And trying to get him to understand it is difficult. And it's like, and my kid, he's very Hispanic descent and very dark complected. And it's like, dude, you need to just stop. Like, you're going to say that's the wrong person online when you're gaming, and then you're going to get a whole earful. But that might just be my own white guilt and paranoia. Because, I mean, that's totally a thing. I don't want to do that. Darn. I was thinking about putting more checkers on it, but no. I need to do more other things. And I guess that's where I'm going to stop this video, because this is fun. Yeah, hope you enjoyed this. Have a good night.